We're keeping an eye on shares of Stanley Black Decker as investors track its latest Analyst Day, or Investor Day, I should say. Let's bring in Stanley Black Decker CEO, Don Allan. Don, good to see you in person.
Great to be here, Brian.
I appreciate it. So, Investor Day for your company, what was the message or pitch to investors here as we look forward to next year?
Well, I think, we all know that we're living in somewhat of a volatile world right now. So we really tried to focus the energy of the day on the long-term value creation that exists for Stanley Black Decker. And when we think about the transformation we've been underway for the last 2.5 years, we felt like that it was important to let people know that we're getting to the last phase of the transformation, which is basically taking out $2 billion of cost.
A lot of costs.
Getting our supply chain in a more robust manner, getting our service levels up to higher levels of performance with our channel customers, and in really ramping up our innovation. And so we've made great progress in that regard, but we have one more year to go. And so by the end of 25, we can kind of say the transformation is complete.
Why I liked your latest earnings call, you just reported a couple weeks ago, is you were no BS. You're like, the housing market, it's still under pressure. I mean, you laid it out there for investors. Why does that pressure still exist? And we've seen a couple rate cuts by the Fed. Like, when do things start to improve a bit?
Yeah, I think, mortgages need to get closer to about 5%. And, we're still in the 6s. And when we get there, I actually think it's going to free up a lot of activity around people changing homes. Because one of the things happening right now is that home sales are very, very low. Because people are locked in on an average mortgage around 3%, maybe even less. And so why would you get a 7% mortgage on a bigger house?
What are you seeing in terms of DIY projects? We've heard the earnings calls from Home Depot. We've got the earnings call from Lowe's. Are consumers taking on larger projects or smaller projects? Like, where are those dollars right now?
They're definitely taking on smaller projects. I mean, they're really being prudent with where they're spending their money and how they're spending their money. When you look at what's selling of our products through those types of channel customers, it's the more small to mid-sized things versus the larger products, the big price tags. The things that are up or closer to $1,000 are not moving as fast.
You've heard some of the proposals, potential proposals by the Trump administration. Does the Stanley Black Decker raise prices ahead of any potential tariffs, or do you say, wait a second, we're going to see what happens here first?
Yeah, we're definitely going to wait and see. I mean, we actually have been planning different scenarios since the spring of this year. And so when it became very probable that President Trump might win the election, we began to really think through what are the different scenarios. And we went after three different pillars, as I've called them. One was, I personally have been spending a lot of time with folks that know President Trump very well, that are kind of in his orbit. I've also spent time with senators and folks in Congress that are in states where we have manufacturing and other operations, just to help them understand how the impact of a new tariff regime might mean to our company and our industry. I've also spent time with our team talking about, okay, well, when something is announced, we want to be doing pricing actions with our customers of some magnitude. And so we've actually started to have some of those conversations with our channel customers in the last week or two. And we won't do anything until we see something that says, okay, here's what the new world of tariffs is going to be. And the third thing is we've built a plan around supply chain to continue to mitigate and reduce our China exposure. I mean, 10 years ago, even 8 years ago, 40% of what we sold in the US came from China. Today, that number is about 20-25%. We're going to continue to move that down, and we were planning on doing that no matter what.
Can you move it back to the US? I'm trying to almost get to with a lot of leaders. Is tariffs good for US manufacturers, companies that make things like you guys do?
I actually think tariffs can be good for the certain industries. And certain industries are definitely under attack from Chinese competitors. And I think that's really what President Trump and his team is thinking through. They know the auto industry is under attack. They know semiconductors, the healthcare industry, certain other electronics industries where US companies and US manufacturers are definitely feeling the pressure of that. I'm not sure that necessarily applies in other industries. And so in those industries, I think there's a heavy weighting towards US manufacturing and the benefit aspects of that. When I look at our industry, if I took our Chinese operation that we have today that makes power tools and brought it over in the US, the cost to make that product would be about 60 to 70% higher. So it's substantial.
Which the consumer is not going to pay for.
Which the consumer will not
70%
pay
more.
for. And so if we're going to reduce our China exposure, which we are, we'll be looking at other Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, or maybe Mexico, where we certainly have a significant operation already.
Lastly, before we let you go, I know innovation is at the heart of your company. Talk to us about your move towards electrification. Where is it at in your portfolio, and how important of an initiative is it for you and the team?
Well, it's one of the things that we're really excited about around the innovation that we see kind of going forward and ahead of us. Because, for decades, Stanley and Black Decker, and then together, our company has been working on different categories to electrify the battery technology. And so this year we announced something called Power Shift, which was in basically concrete application tools that are now battery operated. First time ever that you had substantially high performance.
Like a jackhammer?
Yeah, things like that, exactly. Or flattening, the device that flattens the cement when you have to lay it.
How long do you get on a charge?
You can get a charge anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. And then you can obviously quickly change it out with the new battery pack. And there's quick charging stations as well that allow you to recharge the battery quickly. So there's more categories like that haven't been electrified. Obviously there's some in outdoor that are gas operated. There's other ones that are operated through air compression technology. And those are types of things that we just need to keep innovating.
Well, good luck on that journey. It was good to see you. I know you don't do a lot of these interviews. We'll come back to Yahoo Finance. I want to stay in touch with you as you continue
Absolutely.
along your journey. Stanley Black Decker CEO Don Allan, good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Good to see you. Thank you, Brian.